Thanks everyone. And yeah, 10 years. So 10 years for me. I mean, it says who I am there really, but you know, you can scrap the councillor stuff because 10 years ago I wasn't one at all. I was just someone else here that had been hit by flooding, you know, and wanted to do something about it. Won't focus too much on the flooding itself, but like Slow the Flow, myself and others chose to stand up and do something. There was three flood wardens in Mythe and Royd, and in the days after the Boxing Day floods, and about 3 weeks after, there was about 25 of us. And I know that is the same kind of thing that's happened with Slow the Flow. People filling that space. Stuart spoke earlier about the glacial pace of, you know, government, both local and national. I do share your pain, and I agree with that. But actually, when I was asked if I would be a councillor a couple of years later, and I balked at it at first, actually I did think if I can do something about it and shift the dial on flooding, flood resilience, and doing something, quite frankly, about it in the Calder Valley, then I felt like that was probably a worthwhile way to go, and hopefully I've been a cog somewhat as well in the way that Slow the Flow have as well. So yeah, 10 years, but not 10 years since, you know, various flooding that we had. 2012 was another one. There was 2 floods in that year. They were both in the summer. Patty Smith even came to the Trades Club and did a fundraiser about it. So we're very much, I think, on the map and are understood about the things that affect us as a community. But actually why we're here really is about what Slow the Flow have done and the legacy of what you've done and what you're going to do in the next 10 years. And for me, coming down on those Sunday mornings, you know, often raining, every month's raining really, you know, with other people, you know, with Josh, with other volunteers, and building those leaky dams, doing that gully stuffing, taking hours, falling in quite often, you know, but genuinely having a good time, I think was testament to the amount of people that wanted to be part of that, wanted to be part of feeling like they were doing something, feeling like they were part of the solution, feeling like they were able to take control of something that felt probably quite abstract to them before you gave them that opportunity. So I think that's absolutely massive. And I know other groups have done that too. Forestry, you know, I've alluded to the flood wardens too, that taking ownership. I remember one of the days I was there, I was chatting to one of the volunteers, and he'd come over from Salford. Shout out to Salford. He was, the chap said to me, we were talking about Manchester and Salford things obviously first, but I said, oh, how come you've come over? And he said, I saw it on Facebook, and he said, I wanted to be part of that. It felt like something good to be part of. So, you know, you weren't just pulling people from here, you're the tendrils, and what you were trying to do was reaching really far actually. And I think what you've done really successfully is you've helped change the language and the lexicon of the valley. People know what natural flood management means. People know what sustainable drainage systems are. People know about catchment plans and all these things that they didn't know before. Not always used for positive in some hands, but I think for the most, actually understanding the relationship with water here in a landscape that's been dominated by it from the Industrial Revolution all the way on. We do live with water, but you know, how do we make use of that and shift it for us is massive. So yeah, when I became a councillor and shortly after was made a cabinet member for climate, the first thing that we did was, you know, declare the climate emergency, put the climate action partnership together. I wanted Slow the Flow to be part of that, and you were there in the early days shaping that work, and that was really important to me, as was having young people on there as well, really important to do. And it's great to see, I think, how we've slowly, you know, but surely tried to shift what's going on as a council. Ben here as Natural Flood Management Officer was only you, and now you've got a small team, if I think of, which is brilliant, which was always a stretch goal, so I'm glad that we got there. And we latterly declared an ecological emergency as well, and Luke's there in the corner, and I think actually these things are really important for the work that we're trying to do. You know, we're not just working with Slow the Flow and understanding your methods, but what you've actually done is help us understand the other things that need to happen with the peatland restoration work, with the Sphagnum Moss project, the work that we've been doing with the Exmoor ponies, and thank you to National Trust for some of that. You know, the Swift boxes, all of these things in the Ecological Action Plan are actually part inspired by the work that Slow the Flow started, really. And I feel really lucky to be in Slow the Flow's orbit. I think actually most people that have been volunteers do as well. You know, it's cool, you know, it's something good. It's really worthwhile as well, you know, and actually I think for most people, they can see the fruits of their labour at the end of the day and they kind of understand it. And I think some of the monitoring that, you know, Stuart, you've done has been really helpful in shaping some of the flood schemes that have taken a long time to get there. But actually some of that data has really been invaluable. So thank you. The Queen's Award for Voluntary Service, I think, just to focus on as well. I mean, unbelievable. And I was really happy to kind of endorse and help and play some, you know, small part in that. You've got a litany of kind of trophies there, but I feel like that's perhaps the, you know, the kind of icing on the cake, really, an endorsement from National about kind of the work that you've done. Really important. So here's to another 10 years. Here's to really understanding and taking this to the next level. You're working with young people. You're kind of educating people about the work that you do. I think we've still got a ways to go in the council, but you know, through the NFM grant scheme, we've given out millions and millions of pounds. Some people haven't even needed to access that grant. They've self-funded it based on looking at the work that's happening there. So there's actually lots of places, if you go for walks on our massive rights of way network, you'll kind of see things and you might question what they are. They're probably an NFM scheme that you kind of didn't realise. So here's to another 10 years of everything that you've done. We shouldn't need to be here at all. It shouldn't need to exist, but I'm damn glad that you do. Thank you.